What's up, y'all? I just finished watching the first two episodes of AHSOKA, and I'm going to give you some quick reaction and impressions from what I've seen so far. Quick TLDR, it's a good start. First two episodes, I give them a solid 7.5 out of 10 overall. There's definitely some things that they could work on. A few critiques that I hope get fixed over the next 6 episodes, but good start. I like where the show is going. I think the story is quite interesting, and where they take this is hopefully somewhere great, But yeah, for those of you who need to know if you should or shouldn't watch, I think you should definitely give it a shot. I know a lot of us have been scorned over the past few shows, and so with that being said, give this one a shot. You'll probably like at least the first 2 episodes. That's all I can say for now. But yeah, let's get into it. So, episode 1, Dave Filoni's episode. I think this is the better episode out of the 2. Not to say that the second episode is bad or anything. I think they're both pretty solid. But overall, I prefer the first episode. I guess one of the critiques I have is the pacing. It seemed a bit slow at times. I felt like it was dragging a little bit. Not to say that there was any filler, but there were just certain things that were kind of taking their time, and there were moments where I felt like it could have been sped up a little bit. But with that being said, let's not get it twisted. I loved it. As a Rebels fan, this is kind of the show I've been the most hyped for out of all the ones that have been announced, and I think Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka is a pretty good Ahsoka, to be honest. I wasn't expecting her to do so well when I first heard of the casting, but I mean, she's killing it. I think Ray Stevenson as Baylan doing a great job. R.I.P. Unfortunately, gone too soon, but his performance has been pretty solid. I think he's doing a great, grizzly, jaded, dark Jedi, and we'll get into that a little bit more in just a sec. But as far as Shin is concerned, forgive me, I don't remember the actress's name at the moment. I'll put it down here. But she's the one who kind of sticks out a little bit for me. Some shots and some of her moments kind of seem, I don't know what the correct word for it is. Maybe like she's trying a bit too hard. She's trying just a little too much. It doesn't seem like she's kind of settled in and she's confident in herself when she's acting. Now, this could just be me reading into it a bit too much, which is probably the case. This is only the first 2 episodes. So, that my thoughts can completely flip, once I see the next 6. But yeah, as far as that's concerned, acting overall has been pretty solid. I'm not a big fan of the casting for Hera. More so just she doesn't really look like Hera. And honestly, she doesn't have that many lines. But overall, I mean, she's okay. And yeah, acting aside, set design, great. I don't think they missed a beat. Seeing the old communications tower from Rebels, where the whole gang spent a lot of their time, especially Ezra, and getting to see Lothal and how it's grown over this time, and how there's a massive city now with all these skyscrapers. It's really cool. So overall set design, great. Cinematography, I think they did a pretty good job. I haven't noticed any CGI moments. There was one of those shots, I believe it's one of the landing shots where we see a ship land, where you can kind of notice the massive screen behind. This might be just me. I tend to kind of, pick apart those moments a little bit more. And so there's a bit of an awkward moment where it kind of takes me out of the immersion a little bit, but that's a quick nitpick. Other than that, set design was pretty solid. And that's just episode 1. Episode 2 is where it starts to kick up a bit more. At the end of episode 1 is the fight between Sabine and Shin. Shin bodies her, and it looks like, and she also stabs Sabine. And I know I know the memes are coming on Twitter of everyone surviving stab wounds now. Apparently, a stab wound from a lightsaber is not enough to kill anymore. That's a new thing, especially after the Kenobi show and Reva being stabbed twice and just botting it. Look, that was a little weird. I really wish they didn't have that scene. It would have been great if maybe she not died, but she like got knocked unconscious or something like that. I don't know. Just seeing her stabbed and then just like be completely fine, later on in the episode is kind of weird. But it is what it is. And then, so yeah, the previous episode 1, ends off with her looking like she's about to die. And episode 2 picks up with her waking up in a kind of hospital, and she's healing, and she's more or less almost fully healed. And so from that moment, we start to get a bit more action. Things progress, and we see more lightsaber fights. Yes. And there was a moment that was really cool. One specific fight between AHSOKA and what I assume is an Inquisitor. But that wouldn't make sense since the Empire no longer exists. I don't know. But it seemed like maybe there's some more Dark Jedi or more people maybe Baylan has taught. I hope we'll get more clarification on that later on. But we also see another droid. She fights both of them off. You get to see AHSOKA do her thing. And honestly, I know AHSOKA was never fully Jedi Knighted. But at this point, I would consider her a master. We haven't seen her force abilities as far as like extensive force abilities. She's using like push pull, and they made it seem like she has I forgot what the name of the ability is, but it's in Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor, where Cal has the ability to kind of sense events that happened previously off of specific objects, and it looked like AHSOKA was doing that in the second episode and the first episode. I specifically noticed it when she's like sensing the voices of the previous fight between Shin and Sabine. So maybe she has that ability. Hopefully they'll lean more into it later on. But that was really cool. And it would be great if she had that ability because as far as I know, Cal is the only one who has it, and I believe it's a Legends ability. But yeah. This episode, as far as pacing is concerned, was a lot quicker. It was moving. There was hardly any time where we were really just sitting. And I love that. I hope the other episodes are like that too, because we only have 8 episodes. And I believe the third episode is only 30 minutes. And usually the credits are like between 5 to 10 minutes on their own. So I know that third episode is going to be a bit short. So hopefully, we're moving. Because I know it's supposed to be split into 2 separate parts. The first 4 and then a bit of a time jump in the next 4. So we'll see. Hopefully, they kind of speed these up and we get as much as we can. Because from what I've heard, this 8 episodes is supposed to be sort of a setup in a way for Dave Filoni's movie that's not going to come out for at least 2 to 3 years. And if it's a setup, I'm going to be a bit disappointed because they're going to leave us on a giant cliffhanger and it's going to feel like not a lot has happened. I'm not really a big fan of setup content. It's like what I like to call it. Like when films will basically just be a ton of exposition and just be a setup for the much better film where things really happen in the next one. I don't really like when films do that, and now that we're getting it on the TV side, it's usually okay because then we'll just get the next season and we'll just keep going and things, will kind of keep moving forward. But having a setup show for a film feels awkward. So hopefully that's not what the case is. Other than that, there's not much I can say as far as story is concerned. I don't want to spoil it too much for you guys, but seeing the worlds, seeing Morgan. I can't believe I didn't talk about Morgan. So we find out that Morgan is a witch, specifically a Night Sister, or one of the ancestors of the Night Sisters. And if you guys have watched the Clone Wars, you guys learned that Dathomir was destroyed when Dooku went there and basically ended the basically the entire clan on Dathomir. And so she is one of the last remnants. We also find out a little bit more from the Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor games about what happened to the Night Sisters. But now we know that she has her own specific witch-type powers. And a big rumor and things I was hoping to see was kind of delving more into those witch powers. I know Star Wars has always been a lot about the Force and how mystical the Force can be. And I think maybe these witch powers are also a part of the Force, but a different interpretation of it. I think that'd be really cool to be explored. See if maybe where Admiral Thrawn is on a planet that, is like, similar to what the Night Sisters do. Maybe we meet other witches, and I think that would be really cool. So hopefully they do something along those lines. But seeing Morgan and her powers, and we learn about the map and how basically Thrawn is on a completely different galaxy from the main galaxy. And so now there's a map, and the map gets stolen, right? And that would mean that the Purgles took him so far, they took him to a whole different galaxy. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the whole moving to a different galaxy thing, because that opens up a massive door of questions. And I mean, space is gigantic, so it wouldn't surprise me if there's many different galaxies, but there's just too many questions that open up, and so hopefully they can answer some of these questions. Other than that, these first two episodes have been pretty solid. I hope we get to learn more about the map. We get to see some more Jedi training between Ahsoka and Sabine, or should I say Master Tano. I hope we get to learn more about Baylan and how he escaped Order 66, and why he became a Dark Jedi. And I say Dark Jedi specifically because he's not Sith, so he's like dark, if you get what I'm saying. And people noticed in the trailer that his lightsaber is a bit of an orangish red, as well as Shin's, while like Sith lightsabers are like a dark red. And so there was no official explanation for that, but they did. That was something that was intentionally there, and that was confirmed, I think, by Dave himself. So hopefully we get to learn more about that. My theory is that when lightsabers are bled, which is the process of turning them red, since Shin is not fully Sith, he didn't bleed it as hard. He didn't push it as far, put as much pain into it. I think he's more so jaded from what happened during Order 66, and he passed that on to his apprentice, Shin. But we'll see if that's actually what happens. I have a feeling there's more to the story than what meets the eye. And there was no Anakin, for those of you who are going to be asking. Hopefully we get to see the moment where Anakin is a Force ghost and he speaks to Ahsoka. We get to actually see that conversation. That'd be fantastic. Oh my God. That'd be a home run. If they do that, the show is a 10 out of 10. I would love to see the moment where Luke and Ahsoka meet, because we get to see the point where they have already met, they have some sort of relationship. But I would love to see that conversation between Ahsoka finding out Anakin has kids, and she speaks to Luke, and Luke tells her that Anakin was redeemed and what he did to stop Palpatine. That'd be so cool. And so hopefully they do that. Please do that. But other than that, I'm excited for the next episode. As far as I know, it hasn't been confirmed if it's just going to be at every 6 p.m. every Tuesday. That'd be great, honestly. But yeah, that's about it. I'm probably not going to make any more videos as far as Ahsoka is concerned until it's complete. So we'll see if any of my thoughts have changed, if I still feel the same. But yeah, these are just some quick reactions and impressions from my first 2 episodes of Ahsoka. If you guys have any questions, comments, put it down in the comment section. I'll be in there answering anything I can. Leave a like on the video if you really enjoyed it. Other than that, I'll see y'all later. Peace.